Hey Scrappers, it's Avi Oziel here in a video on how to recover silver from a oven. Other than the basic wires, you don't want to really, go crazy. The only things that you will find in an oven that's an older model oven, remember this is a Admiral oven, it's about 20-30 years old. All I ended up doing was someone a favor by making the mess a little bit easier to clean up. What I ended up getting was just the wires. The one thing you guys want to look out for is this right here. This isn't a regular plug. This is actually real copper. It's braided copper, probably number one copper. You can see it beginning right over here. You can get a closer look at that. See, it's braided copper, and that will go kind of what you'll find in a television set, that cable that runs around the TV. So you want to open this up and you're going to get some nice number one copper and add this to your collection. Guys, this is what you really want to go for. If anything, don't take the steel. That's worth $7 for 170 pounds if you're lucky. 10 cents a pound doesn't make sense to lug that around. So just might as well get this. This piece right here is worth more than the whole oven itself. If this is about 2-3 pounds, $3 a pound, 3-6. This is like a $9 piece of copper right here. The plug itself. So there's no point in taking a 170-pound oven when you can get the goodies right here that's worth even more than the oven itself. There was a fuse relay that I took from the back. Now, Moose Scrapper, I'm asking you a question here. You did mention that there was some silver. Someone had told you that there was silver in one of these ovens. My question to you, Moose, I kind of got curious because I looked one of your videos up and I was wondering, well, what's inside these damn things? So if you look here, these fuses came from the back of this. Okay, so this is the piece that you, on Mike Scrapper, we're talking about. I took this, I unscrewed it with this, screwdriver, whatever. This is pretty cool, to be honest with you. It's like a clock, right? It runs, there's a copper piece that you mentioned right here, but it looks kind of intricate inside here. I'm sure there may be some kind of silver in here, but what I did find was these fuses, right? Caution, guys. It's a live internal part. So that tells me that, this is where the brains is really of the oven. When you turn it on, so this is behind there, and you put the temperature to whatever, this thing turns right here. See, and as that turns, now you pop this off, this is what we get. Now the silver is inside here. Now what I identified, I can take a look at sorry, I'm holding one hand here with the camera. Okay, so this looks like it may be silver, I don't know. However, there is definitely brass in here. This looks like it's brass. So the lower contact points is brass. However, I looked inside in here. If you look in here and take these things out, there is what seems to look like silver right here. You can tell because of the tarnish. I mean, that looks like sterling to me, Moose. I don't know if you can confirm this or not, but this is a harder piece right here, and this is inside this right here. Right? I'm not gonna break my fingers apart, but let's see if I can do this with one hand. Okay, so if you take a look here, I believe this is not what I'm after. It's this piece underneath it. Now, mind you, you're not going to get rich in silver here, but the point is trying to identify, the hidden places that you can find silver in electronics, because that's kind of neat, that silver's a very hard to distinguish metal because it's the same color as aluminum, stainless steel, platinum, palladium, white gold. It all has that. Now, but the problem with silver, it has a luster. And the thing with silver, you can tell if it's not a plated or an alloy, because a lot of the silver in today's electronics is silver alloyed with tin, I believe, right? So you have the silver on top of tin, so it's a plating of silver to have the enhanced electrical conductivity. However, in the older stuff, such as this, which is like 20 or 30 years old, you will find, and in the industrial side of things like X-rays and high-grade telecom boards and military equipment, they don't cheapen on this stuff. So this looks like it's silver. Why? Because it's malleable. Okay, I can bend the damn thing very easily. Plus, it's a contact point. So this was inside the fuse box. You can tell there's another one right here. See? Now you can look at and it doesn't have that. But what I like to do is notice that it has, you see that little, it's beginning to tarnish. That's where I can distinguish whether it's silver or not. So you can look, silver is more of a pale, dull, kind of virgin color, whereas the steel is more shiny. It's not virgin, it's kind of diluted with some shininess that's unnatural or artificial, whereas the silver has more of a natural, smoother, dull, I don't want to say dull, but more of a kind of like transparent look, where you can reflect, you can see the reflection. You see, that's the difference. Silver is one of the greatest reflectors, as we know. So you can kind of like go like this in the light and you can see the reflection on the light. Now this definitely appears to be silver, and there's a bunch of these fuses, about 4 or 5 of them. So if you add all those pieces up, you may get about I don't know, a couple of grams of silver. So definitely this little silver, these little silver pieces in here can definitely even add up more than the copper itself that you get from all this wire. And plus it's cool to identify. It's a challenge more for me, guys, and the scrappers out there, especially the notable scrappers, E-Waste Ben, Moose Scrapper, Original Feeds, Mike the Scrapper. If you guys can all comment, I'm gonna ask you for your input here. You can see my videos, just YouTube Avi Oziel or Electro Collect. You can see, I've been posting a couple of videos lately on traffic control systems and stuff. But anyway, to get back to the point, I'm trying to figure out, because I got a lot of pieces that have silver that I need to start identifying. And for us scrappers, we need to know how to quickly identify what's silver and what's not. Now, I know there's a 10 karat acid solution that you use for gold. I did used to have some experience in the gold business before. I just can't get over this piece. You see, just the reflection. And you can see how it starts to... See, you can see the difference. It's the beginning of the tarnish. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. And the fact that it's a contact point, and the very fact that it's malleable. See? I couldn't do this if I tried to this other piece. Not that it's that much thicker, but I mean, you can play around with this all day and move it back and forth. And you couldn't even, if you tried with your fingers, move this piece. That tells me that not just because it's thinner, but it's more of a non-alloyed silver. Usually the silver is plated onto tin, but this looks like it's 925. So guys, basically to sum up this video, I'm trying to identify in a couple of videos that I'm going to be rolling out where the silver in electronics is, because I know we're all going after the gold. That's a no-brainer with all the videos on gold recovery and the acid peroxide and ferric chloride and aqua regia and hydrochloric acid and, you know, all that other stuff. You know, it's kind of easy to bypass the silver because it looks the same as all the other colors. So how do you tell the difference between aluminum, platinum, stainless steel, silver, palladium, white gold, tin? So these are all the same color. And you know what? There's a lot of silver in electronics that we're bypassing, guys, that we just don't know or we're not concerned. And the minute gold that we're getting from these foils and fingers that we're cutting apart, you know, we're missing the big picture here. And you know, to kind of gather our brains together, especially Ben, E-Waste Ben, I love you, man. You're such an informative, genuine, sincere. Kind of reminds me like Moose Scrapper. Moose Scrapper and E-Waste Ben kind of have like a very natural and genuine, sincere approach in your videos, and I do really appreciate your videos, guys. Mike the Scrapper, you do also have more of a professional approach, and I'm not knocking that you're not as sincere as the other guys. I'm just saying that we all have a different way of doing this, right? And I think we're all very talented. To be honest, there's also another guy, Archimedes, the Archimedes channel. He's actually pretty interesting. I think he's a Thailand guy, or he doesn't talk. He just has these birds chirping in the background, and he goes and does his thing. But he seems very talented. But he doesn't really, you know. I'm trying to not just help other people find this out, but let's collaborate. Let's put our brains together. See, look, there's another piece right here. See? That looks like it's silver too. See? That guy. Boom. You can tell because it's starting to tarnish. For Christ's sake, something that's 30 years old, you can see the tarnish already. So, I say no more, guys. I just want your input here, and let's figure out a way how to identify the silver in electronics that we're so overlooking, you know, because we're so obsessed with the gold, when there's silver to be recovered by far in greater quantities than the gold as far as how much goes in and how much goes out. And if we can identify or figure a way out how to use like an acid. I know I have some experience working for a jewelry buyer, and pretty much I learned a trick in testing silver. You can take 18 karat gold acid, and then you put a drop on the acid, and then if it's silver, it will turn it to a milky substance. It will kind of like milk over, like a cream. Or if you scratch it on a stone and then apply the 18 karat acid, it will turn blue. So that's a trick that I use for silver, to identify silver. However, you know, there's got to be a way, guys, that we can figure out how to, you know, identify right away what's silver and what's not. So let's put our heads together. Moose, Ben, Mike, Feets, if you all can join in here and you know, enlighten me. I would love to know your input. So this is basically a sequel to Moose the Scrapper's video on scrapping a oven. I got inspired by him mentioning that there's silver here, so I quickly opened up this fuse box and I found this, and inside here there seems to be what looks like 925 at least. So thanks for watching, and I do look forward to your video. And Moose, if you can you know, create a video reply perhaps, and we can start going back and forth here. Ben, I welcome you with your input. I really enjoy your videos lately on the copper. Good job. But there's definitely some silver that we're missing, guys. You know, we just don't have the time or the patience or the, I would say, knowledge because it's a little trickier. For Christ's sake, gold is gold. All you have to do is identify the difference between brass and gold. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out the color and the luster of brass versus gold. Once you figure out where the gold is, and you pour some muriatic acid into your bucket, and then you do a little processing with AR or whatnot. I know it's a very technical jargon once you started dealing with sodium metabisulfate and dropping and precipitating and whatnot. However, at the end of the day, if you follow step-by-step instruction, it's pretty simple. My point is that there's not many people that deal with identifying the silver, because it's a little bit trickier. And you know what, guys, we could be making a lot more money, and we could definitely be figuring out with our knowledge, put together some new ancient method like the aqua regia, how they figured out 2 parts this, 1 part that, hydrochloric versus nitric made. Let's use the alchemists, let's use our brains, and instead of going after all the gold as the dessert, we can definitely get some appetizers with the silver. I mean, I bet you there's some silver in here, who knows. But my point is, how can we quickly identify whether it's an acid? I'm gonna go get some acids today, some 18 karat acid, 10 karat acid, silver testing acid, stone, just to see what's what. But guys, if you can help identify other than a magnet test, because a lot of metals are magnetic. I don't think tin is magnetic, I don't think aluminum is magnetic, and it could be an alloy. So how to identify if it's either magnetic or not? So ferrous and non-ferrous metals separated. Once you figure out it's not steel, then you're left with tin, you're left with aluminum, it could be platinum. How to identify the silver? That's something that I'm really interested in, because silver is very much of my passion, and it's kind of more challenging than figuring out where the yellow metal is, because that we all see with the naked eye. Silver is a little bit trickier, more challenging, and definitely bypassed by a lot of us. And I want to bring this back, and you know what, it will definitely be interesting to welcome you guys to comment and create some videos, and we can perhaps collaborate our genius minds to figure out how to identify quickly the silver, put it aside before processing, put it in your bucket, put it in your little container, and then go ahead and work your foils and magic with the gold. And then but it's easy to identify gold and copper, but not silver. So I leave you with that, food for thought, and I say no more. Moose, Ben, please make a video and reply here. I definitely have a few more pieces on different e-waste collections that I've been accumulating, that I definitely would like to bring up in some videos coming up. So please, definitely, let's get this cracking here, guys, because there's a lot of silver that we're missing. And you know what? Silver is going to be worth a lot of money, and it's the thing about silver, I'll leave you with this, is that it's irrecoverable. Because we idiots are going after the gold, we forget the silver, and the silver is lost. The silver is lost. The gold is always being recycled from the jewelry, every last bit of it, down to the little water bottle that you spritz, the little flakes of foils that come down. Every bit of gold is recovered. So my point is that the value of the gold, the reason why, never mind the price of silver and gold, because the price is not really what it is. It should be a couple of $100s. Think of gold as a precious metal, and $1,500, silver $30, $20. Maybe if you're lucky a few years ago, $50. But in reality speaking, silver is a precious metal, silver should be in the category of gold and platinum. It should be several $100s worth. If platinum and gold are over $1,000,